Das musste aber langsam reichen, Kleiner. Ja? The lone campers. I mean, you'd want to be pretty well informed to know this place. I had no idea it was here. I'm not a local, obviously, but there'll be another, 15, 20 years before I could be a local. I don't think I'll live that long. Fresh eggs. Oh, they get delivered to us here. That's pretty, entrepreneurial, isn't it? Whiz over and drop you over a dozen eggs. Another little fireplace. Presumably, when we went over on the other side of the creek and there was that was going to be full of mud, that would be the weir, I suppose. You wouldn't think so, but that's what it is. Anyway, it's not a bad little spot. It's quite isolated, which is good and bad, depending on whether Ivan, my lad, or somebody comes past. So that's Bogan Weir. I'm going to look it up when I get home and see what it says about it. See what Dr. Google's got to say. So now we're back, 60 k's or something back to Trundle. Then another 30 home, whatever. Get up in there. Well, we've got the less fun part of the breeze now. Coming across that way. It'll actually probably be better when we get back onto the dirt, because there'll be a lot of trees to sort of keep the wind down a bit. I wonder what the river is. I suppose it's the Bogan. Surely not. Oh well, it might be. And the Bogan River goes through Ningen, so it might well come down this way from there, or go up there from down here or whatever. Better check that out if I want to ever have the hope of being considered a local. You've got to know a few things like that. water over road. There wasn't this morning. Got him. Not much water in any of the dams all around the place. Oh crikey, this bike's hard to ride in this sort of weather. I mean, yeah, it's not killing me. Better be careful, hadn't I? You never know. You never know what they're going to be. was that dead pig that turned into a tyre again. Back to the dirt. Just missed a rather deep hole actually. Now all we have to do is remember where the turn-off was back to Trundle, though I think it was fairly well signposted. If not, and we end up back in Tullamore instead, I don't suppose it matters too much in the grand scheme of life, the universe and everything. An hour and dry as a dead dingo's donger. Get up in there. I do that a lot, you know, it's really stupid on my part. I should just shift a bit more positively. But I expect it to be a lighter change than it is. I mean, it's hardly agricultural, and it's hardly a Harley, if you'll pardon the expression. But it still rewards positive changing. Rough as guts, eh? Rough as guts. Mirror. Bloody annoying. Oh, that's right, this is the bit where there was some washouts, wasn't there? I thought that was a skippy and stand on the side of the road. It's just a bit of a tree branch. Alright, you can just fuck right off. That bloody mirror. The clamp is just not strong enough, and I'm bending the clamp when I'm tightening the nut now, so it seems a bit of a waste of time. Pretty tractable motor, this motor, isn't it? It pulls from virtually anywhere. I'm sure some of these roads would take me back. Get up to Trundle. You know, pulls happily from most parts of the rev range. Not necessarily massively, doesn't pull massively, but it will, you know, you're not labouring it to just put it into top at around 60 or 70, you know. It doesn't love it, I don't suppose. Well, maybe that's just in my head. Well, that's just over 60, 65, 70 now. Just pulls along. That would be quite docile and usable in traffic in the city or whatever. But hopefully this one will never get ridden in the city. Well, I did ride the other BMW down to Sydney a couple of times and Newcastle a few times and whatever. Back in the day. Nice new fencing. The back tyre just let go then, slightly. And the rear view mirror is now acting as a steering damper by the looks. Oh, hang on a while, son. It's a lot of Maggies in one place. Look at that, mate. I love magpies. They're like the best bird in the world. If you had to choose one, you know. I love their noises and their society, you know. They're really interesting. And they're feisty buggers. When I look back upon the years to those birds there, they're called apostle birds. Apparently because they literally hang around in groups of about 12. What was I saying before that? Back to the years that we owned the Triumph, you know, the Rocket 3. And I owned that bike for about 11 or 12 years, I think it was. And did 140 something thousand kilometres on it in all kinds of road conditions, you know, from this to motorways to really rough dirt roads, in the snow, freezing cold, all that stuff. I look back now and I think, crap, I gave that bike a bit of a hard time, really, after a while. Once it used to break all the time when I first got it, on just normal circumstances because it was so badly made. Then after that, it got thrashed around everywhere. Did lots of miles on the dirt. Let go again. It's not bad letting go in the dirt in third gear on an old Beamer. you know, having said all that, it's very gravelly, so it's very slippery. Slow down a bit for this one, shall we? This one was a very rough one. Rough as the guts. I don't know why they do that. They try and make a little bit of a weir for themselves, maybe. I don't know. The farmers, maybe. I don't know. I don't think we'd be too far away from the turn off back down to Trundle. It could be entirely wrong, of course. It's just my feeling about it. Okay, out there are women and children. Oh, look at, oh, nearly hit one. Dickhead, blanket. This would be it here then, I suppose. And Murmalla Road, that's the one. Rightio, that's where we're going. And I think it's actually tar all the way in, isn't it? Can't remember now. Is that another motorcyclist I see? I believe it is. He's got an adventure bike. There you go, buddy. See, he thinks you've got to have an adventure bike. But he doesn't know I'm an old codger, and we come from a time when any bike you had was an adventure bike. You just rode what you had and went where you needed to go. Mind you, he probably goes twice as fast as I do on the dirt and gets it sideways everywhere and no dramas at all. Who knows? My experience though can be quite different than that. I remember going to a couple of BM rallies years ago, you know, like the Karua River rally and stuff, and there's a fair bit of dirt on the way into that rally and back. And I can remember on the old K bike overtaking people on the dirt with Bella in the chair, and they were on GS BMs and stuff like that. It's just like, oh, fucking show ponies, you know. Anyways, enough of that. Being critical of other motorcyclists. It's not my role, it's not my job. I actually put up a photo on a Facebook page the other week, and it's a page, an Australian page, old motorcycle shops, stories, clubs, you know, bikes, whatever. So I put up this photo of a mate of mine, an old mate of mine, Moth, on his 78 Bonnie, doing a mono down the street in Long Jetty on the Central Coast. And I said something like, you know, Moth doing a mono before he traded his 78 on a brand new 79 model the next day, you know, something like that. I think I'd had a couple of beers by that stage, and I said something like, yeah, they were the days when there didn't seem to be such a gap between 1%ers, full-on bikies, you know, and ordinary bikies. In those days, we all seem to have things in common, you know. Get up there. You know, and we'd share a beer on the road with, I don't know, a Gypsy Joker or a bloody Fink or somebody, and you'd fix their bike for them because they didn't have tools with them or whatever it might be. You know, things like that. It wasn't such a distance between people who rode then. And, you know, and blokes on BMWs would turn up at Bathurst, you know, wearing the same stuff everybody else wore, you know, like maybe a Bellstaff jacket, but a denim cut-off over the top of that, you know, like everyone wore in those days before they had to be trendy leather vests, you know, with the right toggles or whatever. You know, mumble, mumble, whinge, whinge kind of stuff. And it ended up having like 1,300 likes and hundreds of comments. It sort of really touched everybody's nerves about how, you know, things have changed so much, and everyone doesn't like it, you know. It's it was really interesting. And there was even a bloke who's a member of one of the 1%er clubs, you know, who put up a photo of his 69 Bonneville, and that used to belong to me. And so he was saying, yeah, brother, you know, like a buddy, and here's this old bike of yours still going strong, and my left leg's, my right leg, or one of his legs is buggered, so he can't kickstart it anymore, so he gave it to his daughter. And I just said something like, you know, it's good you passed it on to someone who's important, you know, or whatever. And but that just went on and on and on for days and days and weeks, that post. I regretted posting it. I thought I might get half a dozen likes and that'd be about it. He's tired now, I think, just on a bit of a rest. Here we are, back on Bogan Way. Probably run out of memory card, I guess.